will be the mistress of ceremony of this webinar. Good morning to the honored Dr. Hendra Teja Suksmana M.Hum as the head of the Master Study Program of TEFL, Takim Andriono Ph.D. and Dr. Aslam Khan as the speakers of this webinar.
Good morning to the honored lecturers, Professor Dr. Wuri Sujatmiko and Harto Pramono Ph.D., the lecturers of Graduate School of Widya Mandala, Surabaya Catholic University, and good morning to the honored participants of this webinar.
Welcome to our webinar entitled Education in the New Normal, Management and Pedagogical Perspectives held by Master Study Program in TEFL, Graduate School of Widya Mandala, Surabaya Catholic University. We welcome all participants who are students, teachers, and also lecturers from various institutions.
Allow me to explain about our webinar in short. This event is an online seminar or webinar emphasizing on the topic of education in the new normal. Through this webinar, it is expected that the participant will be able to explore wider knowledge on management and pedagogical perspective in new normal.
This webinar will start with opening ceremony, presentation of the speaker, question and answer session, quiz time, closing prayer, and questionnaire session. If you have any questions during the sessions, please type them in the chat column.
Now, let's open this webinar with a prayer. I'd like to invite Ms. Erlia to lead the prayer. Ms. Erlia, time is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Eva, for the time. Good morning, participants. Before we start our webinar today, let us take a moment of silence to pray. I will lead the prayer in Catholic. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Almighty and ever-living God, we glorify and thank your name. We humbly ask you to shower our speaker today with your greatest inspiration, so that they may share the most of their knowledge, heart, and soul to their respective topic. May we also absorb the knowledge and experiences and put it into practice what we learned today. We pray that you bless all the committees in charge, that they may be able to fulfill their tasks responsibly. Your blessing would mean the success of this webinar. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Erlia. We'd like to invite all of the participants and the committees to listen to the national anthem, Indonesia Raya.
invite Ms. Ayuana as the chairman of this webinar. Ms. Ayuana, time is yours.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome all of you to our webinar. Thank you for being here with us today. The head of master program in ELT, Dr. Hendra Teja Suksmana M. The speakers of the webinar, Dr. Aslam Khan and Takim Andriono, Ph.D., who will kindly share their knowledge and experience to all of us. Our beloved lecturers, Professor Buri Sujatmiko and Harto Pramono, Ph.D. I would like to welcome all the participants that coming from various backgrounds, passionate graduate and undergraduate students in ELT, highly motivated teachers, headmasters, and lecturers, great people who have concern for education. It is such an honor for me to speak on behalf of the committee, and I would like to express my appreciation to the MPPI Batch 2019, the hardworking people who have wonderful teamwork in preparing for this event. Ladies and gentlemen, educators and all of us who concern for education, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, have to be prepared for the new normal for millions of students across the country. Lessons learned during the current school disruption should drive educators to change their perspectives and practices. In today's webinar, we would get comprehensive information related to reshaping school management and strategies of finding and implementing the best pedagogical practices. Finally, in line with the motto of Widya Mandala Catholic University, non scholae sed vitae decimus, which means we do not learn for school, but we learn for life. I do hope that this event will help us grow ourselves professionally, become not just a better educator, but also a better person that brings goodness to all mankind. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ayuana. Now we'd like to invite Dr. Hendra Teja Suksmana M. Hum as the head of master's program in TEFL to give an opening speech. Dr. Hendra Teja Suksmana M. Hum, time is yours.
Thank you. First of all, may I greet all of you. Good morning. Dear speakers, Dr. Aslam Khan bin Samahs Khan, the Executive Vice Chairman of ERICA Education Group Malaysia and Vice President of Malaysian Association for Education and Council Member of National Association of Private Educational Institutions Malaysia. And Takim Andriono, Doctor of Philosophy, a Senior Lecturer of Educational Leadership and Educational Administration at our Master's Program. And he's also trainer at the School Leadership Development Program. It is a pleasure to meet you all in good health as we are still in the pandemic situation. The situation makes us all unable to see each other in person, yet technology enables us to do so. That is why we are here this morning to discuss education in the new normal in the management and pedagogical perspectives, as all of us here has heard from the head of the student committee. We know that the pandemic is infecting more and more people, so that students in all levels still cannot go to school or college. And this webinar might be one of the way out to give you ideas to overcome the problem. The first speaker, Takim Andriono, Dr. of Philosophy, talks about reshaping school management in response to the COVID-19 disruption. While the second speaker, Dr. Aslam Khan bin Samahs Khan, talks about the new normal in education, contextualized best practices, and pedagogical solution in challenging times. This webinar is hosted by the Master's Program in ELT, Widya Mandala Surabaya Catholic University, and organized by our students as the implementation of the theory they have got in their workshop training class. We also expect that all the participants will be actively engaged in the ice-breaking activities prepared by the committee. And for this, the committee would give some presents to the winners. We are sure that this webinar will give you fruitful ideas of what we have to do with our school management and pedagogy, considering the pandemic is not over yet. Last but not least, we extend our thanks to the student committee who have been working hard to make this event possible. And to all dearest participants, happy webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hendra Teja Suksmana M. Hum, for the great speech. Now, without further ado, we will start the session with Takim Andriono, Ph.D. This session will be led by Mr. Sihab as the moderator. Mr. Sihab, time is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Eva. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first session of the webinar entitled Reshaping School Management in Response to the COVID-19 Disruption. I am Sihab. It is my honor to be the moderator for the first session. This session will take 45 minutes for the presentation and followed by 15 minutes for question and answer session. During the presentation, we welcome all the participants to give questions into the Q&A link provided in the chat box. Again, during the presentation, we welcome all participants to give questions in the Q&A link we provide in the chat box. Before we move to the presentation, I'd like to briefly introduce our first speaker, Mr. Takim Andriono, Ph.D. He is the senior lecturer of educational leadership and educational administration at Widya Mandala Catholic University. Mr. Andriono earned his bachelor's degree of civil engineering in Petra Christian University, his master and doctor of philosophy of civil engineering in University of Canterbury in New Zealand. As a trainer at School Leadership Development Program, Mr. Andriono has become a speaker for some seminars in education, recently such as the Conference for Leaders and Educators, Creating Values-Based Innovative Schools in the Era of Industry 4.0 in 2019. The webinar Bangkit Membangun Model Pendidikan Masa Depan Pasca COVID-19 in May 2020. He is also the co-author of the book Menjadi Sekolah Terbaik, Praktik-Praktik Strategis dalam Pendidikan. Without further ado, please welcome our first speaker, Mr. Andriono. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Sihab. Is my voice clear enough? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Right. Good morning, or maybe some participants come from other countries. I would like also to greet you all. Thank you for giving the opportunity to share with you, especially in this time of disruption. Allow me to share screen. Okay. The topic that I would like to share with you is reshaping school management in response to the COVID-19 disruption. Right. Change is actually inevitable. Sometimes we may experience a positive change, such as getting a promotion or experiencing a business growth or maybe a salary increase. At other times, however, we may face a painful one, such as losing our job or a personal loss. Dealing with change, especially which causes grief or shock, is the most challenging one. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, a Swiss-American psychiatrist in her book on death and dying, introduced a change curve such as I shared to you. There are several stages of grief due to the disruptions or changes as illustrated here: denial, frustration, depression, and so on. First, I would like to discuss with you this part. Oops. The denial. It is very common that people would react with disbelief and ask why this shocking change would happen to me. They would try to look for evidence that it was not true. It is very common, right? So this is very, very normal. And then if it is not managed well, then people start to get angry. Angry, frustrated is the second stage, dealing with change. As people start to realize that things are indeed different from what they expect, the reaction would be frustration. Again, if it is not well managed, then the feeling which follows after anger and frustration normally is low mood, apathy, or lacking of energy. If prolonged, people with this kind of emotional state may experience deep depression and tend to give up. And this is a very, very critical part. If we keep abandoning it, then we will experience a real problem in our lives. It also happens with organization. Then resilience is the most important factor for anyone. If we have resilience, then we will be able to start an initial engagement, even though it's a small step, but we try to do something to solve our problem. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross mentioned this stage as experiment. So we try to engage in initial effort to the new situation. We try our best with some new initiatives. Then the experiment stage, if it is successful and got some support, then we will go to the next stage. The person who experienced it will become ready to make a decision. We have more positive feeling. Finally, changes are well accepted and responded. The person who experienced it will become a renewed individual. Well, this model is also actually applicable to any organization, because organization basically is a group of people, right? Now, it is well known that leading change in schools during time of disruptions is a very challenging task. It seems to be much easier to lead change in business enterprises because education institution is very unique. The impact is for the future of our quote unquote customer, the next generation. It seems to be not only challenging, but also I have to admit it's really heavy because some experts indicated that education institutions tend to be sluggish in responding to change. So that's why we need an extra effort to do something. Now I will move to see the changes. Well, before the COVID-19 pandemic, actually we have already heard about the revolution industry 4.0. It was originated in Germany, and then it was spread all over the world. And now we also hear about Society 5.0 initiated by the Japanese, and just recently the Germany also introduced Industry 5.0. It's more human-centric, which I really glad to hear. Along with this, our Minister of Education and Culture introduced Freedom to Learn, Merdeka Belajar. It's a new initiative to improve education policy and also curriculum as well as learning processes. It simplifies everything. And this was happened at the end of 2019, just a few months before the COVID-19 really came. We know that the first one and the third one, we all experience it all over the world. But somehow we experience also the freedom of learning initiated by our Ministry of Education, and maybe similar initiative also emerged in other countries as well. But ladies and gentlemen, we know somehow all these changes need to be responded very, very well by our schools. So I would like to invite you to see our school through the 8 components, maybe 9, from vision and mission, and then I would discuss today at least one half of the circle, which is on the left-hand side, leadership and management. And of course, because our core business is curriculum and learning process education, so I would like to touch this a little bit. Maybe the second speaker will elaborate a lot more. And then human capital, especially the teachers, and of course, the students. Now, first of all, my question is, should we revisit our school's vision and mission due to these changes? the answers are yours, of course. But I would like to suggest that at least we know that at this moment, maybe most of us are still focusing on how to survive, and also our school, how to survive is the most important question that we need to answer. But we cannot stop there. Otherwise we will be depressed. We need to try to make an experiment and to move on. So from surviving to striving is our task as leaders, especially. If you ask what happened if I'm a teacher, well, I would like to suggest you that actually any transformation will start with a small group of people, a creative minority we call it. Never happens with the big mass. So don't worry, you can start with something small in your classroom, or you may suggest and invite your other colleagues and make suggestions to your leaders. Maybe we don't need to change our vision and mission, but we can have a fresher look, and maybe we can make more meaningful and adjust it into this new situation. So this is very important to keep in mind. Now, after vision and mission, before I really touch leadership and management, allow me to discuss briefly about curriculum and students, because these two factors are, I think, the most important components of our school. Well, we know for sure that COVID-19 is the most drastic force to close almost 90% of all schools around the world, including in our country. Students will, and still maybe, look learning at home. They will follow television, or maybe they will join the Zoom meeting, something like this. And some schools are still struggling how to make sure that their students are keep learning. The question is, maybe we get used to it now, or maybe this disruption is actually shaping a good learning habit. Well, you are the ones who can answer this question. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to uh, invite you to revisit the journey of our learning models. During the agriculture era, learning is very individual. Fathers will teach, they taught their sons, mothers taught their daughters how to survive, maybe in farming and etc. Depends on uh, their daily activities. And then the Industrial Revolution, especially Industrial Revolution 2.0, where people start to know and to use electricity, and mass production come to emerge, that then factories are all over the world. Interestingly, schools follow the needs of that era. And not only the need, but also the model. And that's why we know schools, even up to now, some of our schools are still like this. The factory-based model of schooling. Everything is standardized and time-based approach. Time-based means that even if someone or a student doesn't really understand the topic which is being discussed at that moment, he or she will be quote unquote saved by the bell, doesn't need to come up in front of the class to answer the teacher's question because uh, the class is over. As simple as that. But they actually don't understand. They don't really grasp the core ideas of what is being talked about at that time. Now we live in the knowledge era. Of course, learning in the knowledge era is totally different. But unfortunately, we still following the learning in the industrial era somehow. Now we have to shift our mindset because the future of our students are really different from what we experience. As teachers, as leaders of educational institutions, we need to think about this. Otherwise, some routine jobs will be easily replaced by robots because humans have limitation in doing routine jobs. We get easily bored. Maybe we will drop our accuracy in doing things, but not so with robots. Now we have to really prepare our students not to become factory workers doing routine jobs, but to use, well, to say, frankly say, their brains, how to think critically, how to be a creative and innovative person. And this is our call. Well, briefly, this is education that we are in at this moment. Uh, the Japanese introduced the super smart society, society 5.0, and industry 5.0. It's already been introduced. But I'm glad to know that Industry 5.0 is a bit different from Industry 4.0, which is very heavy on technology. But here, Industry 5.0 is actually more or less has the same concept with Society 5.0, more human-centric, and then resilience and sustainable. Right. Well, we now once again live in the knowledge era. As you can see here, knowledge era will focus more on the intellect, less on land, less on capital, and less on data. So we have to focus on developing the intellect of our students. The question is, how should we learn in this era? Perhaps we need to apply more personalized and competency-based approach, as also strongly suggested by our Ministry of Education and Culture. Personalized and competency-based is actually the results of brain research, how our brain actually works, and it comes to brain-based learning. Students will need to make sure that they develop a sense of agency, a sense of ownership for their progress and subsequent ability to guide their own learning. It's no longer the main responsibility is on the shoulders of teachers, but we need to train our students to make sure that they really engage in the learning process and take the responsibility, because the focus is to prepare them as a lifelong learners. Changes keep happening. Therefore, they really need to be prepared as graduates who are able to learn by themselves. And our students are unique. So the way we prepare our learning process, it should be something like this. If we follow personalized and competency-based learning, just like playing with Lego. We give them blocks, and some of them will build aeroplanes or maybe cars or house or whatever. This is our challenge, because normally we expect that all of them will produce the same or uniform results. And now we need to shift our mindset that they are different. They need to be treated as a unique person. This is our current practice and problems, and getting more severe during this pandemic. Students are moved on the next grade level, even though they have not adequately mastered content at their current grade level, especially the struggling students for certain subject matter or certain topics. Well, it's very common. But on the other hand, students are not allowed to move on to more advanced content because their peers are not ready to do so. It happens to our gifted students for certain subject matters or certain topics. And definitely students have little or no say in how they are taught, how they are assessed, or the topics they would like to learn. It's maybe we are not really familiar with this. Maybe except maybe the early childhood education, they have the liberty to learn this, how they will channel to their passions, what they would like to learn today, for instance. But starting from elementary school, going up to the high school and university level, well, normally as teachers or lecturers will provide everything for them. A single menu for everyone. And we ask them to experience the same learning process. And we really don't bother with their uniqueness. Now it's time to value diversity. Well, this is some of the initiatives of Merdeka Belajar, or Freedom to Learn, the initiative of our Minister of Education and Culture. In, in short, somehow we know that we are no longer run national exams, which normally will drive us to teach to the test. Now it will be replaced with the minimum competence assessment. Well, basically behind this concept is how to make sure that our students are really engaged and empowered to learn. The minimum competence assessment basically we refer them to PISA, Program for International Student Assessment, focusing on three aspects: scientific literacy, reading literacy, and mathematical literacy. And somehow we know that Indonesia is a bit lag behind. And then themes, trends in international mathematics and science study. Of course, it focuses on mathematics and science. So randomly, our students will be assessed in grade 5, 8, and 11. That's what I heard. And it won't affect their studies actually, but it's more as an evaluation for our education institutions or education systems. Somehow we know that PISA and TIMSS focus on higher order thinking skills. So if now our practice in our classroom are still in lower order thinking skills, or maybe during this pandemic, we only replace our offline or on-site learning processes into the screen to become online, we need to think it over, because online learning must be different from offline. So we need to learn to apply blended learning properly, because the focus is to make our students really engaged. They are attract, they are really interested in the topics that we invite them to discuss, and also to empower them so that they can learn by themselves, to become an independent learner. Okay, this is the strategic plan of our Ministry of Education 2020-2024. So the vision is to make sure that our graduates will become lifelong learners. There are 6 characteristics. Number 1 is in the realm of spirituality and character. The second one is valuing global diversity, independent as independent learner, but also they can collaborate with their peers. And the last 2 characteristics are critical thinking and creative thinking. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with this in our mind, let us now discuss about human capital, especially teachers. How we prepare our teachers. It's part of the leadership and management responsibility, right? So knowing that we need to change our curriculum, we need to change our learning process, we need to serve our students because they are the future leaders, somehow we need to ask our teachers not just like this, but this is and the left hand side. It's very common in the past, giving lectures. But now our students have so many learning resources. As a teacher, we need to become their learning designer, perhaps, their facilitator, their mentor, to help them to choose the right information, to choose the right learning path based on their passion, their uniqueness, and train them, equip them so that they can become an independent learner. They are passionate about what they learn, and also they can collaborate with their peers. So the role of teachers conventionally is only teaching, lecturing, but now need to become a mentor or learning designer. For this, we need to reskill and upskill our teachers. There is a good video, you can have a look later. But now we have to give the facilities to facilitate our teachers so that they can reskill or upskill their competence by themselves. We need to rethink how our teachers not only join seminars or we invite speakers for all teachers in our school, but somehow we need to make a survey. What are actually the needs of our teachers? Some of them might need classroom management with blended learning, perhaps. Or some of them know that already. So this is the problem. We also need to treat our students, our teachers, with personally. We need to equip them based on their personal needs. Yeah. So please don't treat our teachers and as well as our students uniformly. One of the most demanded at this moment is technology. But I would like to remind you that actually it's not technology itself. Teachers need to be able to combine their content knowledge, their pedagogical knowledge with technological knowledge. It's called TPEC, technological pedagogical content knowledge. And if we would like to reskill or upscale them, then we also need to consider that they are facing their students in a unique way, grade-based learning, how to make sure that our students develop a sense of agency and ownership for their progress and a subsequent ability to guide their training. So maybe this is one of the needs currently our teachers. So once we know these three components, curriculum, learning process, human capital, students, and now I would like to touch on leadership and management. It's time to rebuild. Let us reshape our school leadership and management. Henry Kissinger, foreign minister, previous foreign minister of US, once said that the historic challenge for leaders is to manage the crisis while building the future. Okay, so I use this model. First of all, we need to have a new mindset, especially as leaders, as well as educators. Resilient leaders must understand the mindset from respond to recover. At this moment, we respond everything well, perhaps, but now it's about time to reshape or to recover, to rebuild. Number one, looking at the situation factor. Maybe we just come out from very unpredictable situation. Now it's about time to envision the new destination. That's why I encourage you to revisit your vision and mission of your school. Perhaps you don't need to change it, but you can have a fresh look to make it more meaningful to answer the needs of the future. We call it as interim normal. Not, none of us will know exactly what will happen in the future, but somehow we need to take steps, the right step, to dare to envision the new destination. Otherwise, we are still in the valley, I call it. Now let's move. Then how about the focus? Because we are busy handling parents' complaint, the change really forced by the COVID-19 pandemic, we are so inward looking. Now it's time to check our market. Focus on customer needs, quote unquote customer. The students, their parents, and new opportunities with technology. And how about management? Maybe up to now we are still focusing on crisis management, but it's about to be more agile and keep learning so that we start to move into program management. We need to plan forward from contingency to scenario plan. It means that we align our resources to ramp up the new model operations. But if we don't have a new model, then how could we really make a scenario plan? So it's very important to have a vision of the new destination. And then how about our attitude? Our teachers' attitude, from reacting to reinventing. This is very important note that we have to consider. We need to embrace trust. We need to have a faith on our teachers as leaders, that they are able to be more innovative. They are able to move forward. So our task is to energize our team to create a successful future. If you are interested, then you can read this interesting booklet prepared by Deloitte, the essence of resilient leadership. So, in brief, as leaders, we have to encourage ourselves and also our team to have a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset, because fixed mindset, it will limit our abilities. But the other way around, with growth mindset, if we see failure, it's just an opportunity to grow. This is very, very important. Make sure that everyone on board has a growth mindset. I can learn to do anything I want. Challenges help me to grow. My effort and attitude determine my abilities. Feedback or maybe even criticism, it's okay. I'm inspired by the success of others, not envy. I like to try new things. So let us change the culture of our school instead of grumbling or complaining. Now we try to move on with a growth mindset. Well, that's basically uh, the thing that we would like to try. And by scale, I would like to remind you that please don't try to rock the boat. It means that you change everything, the whole system. Try with a small part first. Just like if you would like to change the direction of a big ship or a tanker, we just use a small rudder beneath the tanker. So we have to find a leverage factor that become a sign for our school that change is happening. So I would suggest incremental adjustment or maybe modular transformation just to test the water, to make an experiment. And if you are successful, then you can transform the whole system. But if we try to transform the whole system as our first approach, if we fail, then it will be hard to get the second trust. So make sure that we do it step by step as far as we can give them a sign that something happens. There is a spirit of change and we manage it well. Okay, I think that's all that I can share with you, and perhaps later we can have our discussion. Thank you for your attention. Mr. Sihab.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Andriono, for the informative and interesting presentation. Very well, ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the Q&A sessions. There are many questions here, but I'd like to choose some questions and I'll try to combine some questions which are similar due to the time limitations. Okay, we start the first questions from uh, Miss Anna Marie Guavis from Cita Hati Christian School. So the question is, since we are in the pandemic era, how do we effectively give feedback and evaluation to our students? Because our communication is everything online. So how do we effectively giving a feedback and evaluate our student?
Okay, allow me to share my opinion on this question. The most important thing is relationship. I would suggest that we build a good relationship between leader and teacher and students, and also school and parents. So even if you would like to give feedback in a normal situation, if we don't have a good relationship, it won't really work. So have a good relationship. Know your student, okay? And then make use of technology, because most of our students have gadget, and maybe you use a learning management system, yeah, so you can still give feedbacks to them. But first of all, I would like to also suggest, let them learn how to manage their own learning, for instance, by giving them a rubric beforehand. So if you would like to give an assignment, for instance, especially during this pandemic, give them a rubric so that they will know exactly what you are expecting them with the result of the assignment. Then they can measure about their own progress, their own understanding, for instance. Yeah. And also it will encourage them to reach the best that they can. So this is an automatic feedback by themselves, actually. So hopefully this question will really help. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The second questions, still from Miss Anna Marie, how we can integrate our teaching in other aspects such as our religious, or maybe this is a spirituality or character values, I
Mm.
think. So how we can integrate it into our teaching and learning process in this situation?
Yes, it's a very interesting question. Very challenging too. I would like to suggest that every time we teach, we need to make a connection to the real world, not just theory or concepts in void, but we have to make it down to earth, connect it with the real world. Then it will become much easier to connect with uh, the needs of our students holistically, yeah, especially in a spiritual realm, character, yeah, because in real life, we don't just apply math with only the theory, right? But it should be also consider our attitude, for instance, the way we have to respond to some problems. Okay, when we try to train them with problem solving, then it will become easier to implement or to integrate with other aspects, not only their cognitive.
Okay. The other questions comes from Mr. Suwanto Chan from YPKN. Dear Pak Takim Andriono, according to you, what kind of school system can we develop in a new normal situations? What direction can we provide for parents and students in this time?
Yeah, uh, it's people try to know what is the best. Actually, the ones who can really answer, it's you yourself, because it's the situation is very unique, right?
Mhm.
The vision and mission of your school are very unique. So I would like to suggest that you find that answer by making a research, knowing exactly who are you serving, because different customer have different needs. Yeah? So I would suggest that you make a need survey. You exactly need to know exactly the parents, your students, the readiness of them to learn. And then if you see any customer, they need the job to do, or they have to learn, for instance, or to raise their kids, for instance. And then they have pains and gains. Pains means that they have problems to solve, but gains, they have expectations. So knowing these three aspects are very important about your customers. Uh, their task, yeah, their pains, and their gains. And then you provide your school with the answers of them. How to help them to do their task, prepare pain reliever, and also you need to be a game creator. So that's what I can answer. Not just a single answer.
Thank you, sir. The next questions comes from Leti Nurleli from Untirta. How to identify the struggling students and keep students, then how to handle them.
I'm sure that every teacher know uh, that the students that are still struggling with a concept, still struggling in certain subjects, right? So you are not new in education, that, but the problem is we are too busy with our task because there is a pressure that we need to cover the whole curriculum and to finish up the whole textbook and etc. etc. And also to do some administrative job, finish administrative tasks, and then we forget and we focus only on the average students. We run the speed of our teaching with the speed of the average students when we ignore the struggling students. Normally, we know them after the test, but it's over, especially if we run some summative assessment. And also, we might miss some gifted students because they might get A, and some other students on the average group may also get A. Yeah, that's the problem. It's even harder to see them. The struggling students, we can spot it right away, and most of them, they need some remedy, for instance. But I would suggest if you apply personalized learning and competency-based learning, there will be no more remedy at the end of your teaching session, because using an LMS, Google Classroom or whatever, Canvas and so on, you can prepare a different menu for your students so that there will be bridging materials, for instance, for them before they can join the class. But they don't need to learn in the classroom. They can learn it at home. So some students will learn a bit longer, maybe 2 hours, while their friends can only spend half an hour. It doesn't matter. Yeah?
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
so hopefully it will answer the question.
Okay, next question from Miss F. Ervira Mayasinta from Yogyakarta State University. A very insightful presentation that Mr. Andriono have delivered to us. My question is, what should we do to support teachers to improve their professional and pedagogical skill for students in the 21st century skill achievement in this disruptive moment of the pandemic situation?
Yes, thank you for the question. Um, well, if we as teachers, yeah, teachers need to be prepared to serve our students with personalized and competency-based learning. Then we also need to equip our teachers based on their personal needs, not just uniformly. So I would suggest that we use a system, yeah, a learning management system, for instance. Then they can uh, choose their based they can choose the upscale program or the rescale program on their own choice, not given in, received instructions from the school principal. They need to have their own initiative. That's what I would like to suggest. That then the school can create a portfolio for the teacher. Yeah, that we can evaluate their learning progress.
Okay. The next question maybe have a correlation with the last question from
Yes.
Jeffrey Kunchoro from Little Sun School. Many teachers are aware about the changes. They realize it because it is difficult to change. They are aware to change, but hard to change because they are still in the comfort zone. Any tips about it, sir?
Yeah, it's actually something related to our own mental model, I should call it. Yeah. Uh, well, first of all, the most important person and the most ideal person in a school is the leader. So if you somehow in the position of leadership, I would suggest that you start the initiation. Uh, Comfort zone, I doubt that anyone at this moment are in the comfort zone because of the COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic really shook us. Yeah? So we experienced a really kind of challenging situation. As almost every one of us, I doubt that there is still one or two of us maybe, but not a lot are still in the comfort zone. We are already shaken, shaken up. That's enough. So now it's about time to really uh, create our new future. Let's do it together.
Okay. This is from another side. If before is from the teacher side, this is how about the student side from India Yasmin Nabila. How to motivate our student to stay enthusiastic about learning in these pandemic conditions. Any
Ah,
suggestions, sir?
you as a teacher, you need to be enthusiastic by yourself first of all. Okay. if if you are not enthusiastic, then how could you expect your students to be enthusiastic? That's number one. Very, very important. And the second advice is please connect all the topics or the subject matters to the real world, something that they are familiar with, and train them how to solve their problems. So know their needs, know their interests. I hope that you will be successful.
Okay. Thank you for
Okay.
the answer, sir. Okay. Unfortunately, our time for this Q&A session is almost up. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the end of the first session. Once again, we thanks our presenter, Mr. Andriono, for his interesting and informative presentation. Hopefully, the presentations will be beneficial for us. Let's give a big round of applause to Mr. Andriono. Thank you, sir. For the participants, thank you for your attention. Hope everyone is staying safe, staying healthy. I will turn it over to Miss Wina. The floor is yours.
Thank you for the wonderful insight, Mr. Sihab. Now we'll move to the quiz session. The quiz will be guided by Miss Arum.
Thank you, Miss Wina. Good morning, everyone. My name is Aru. Now we come to the quiz session. In this first quiz, I'm going to find 3 participants who get the highest score in guessing pictures. Now, please click link on the chat box and enter the game code. I give you 30 seconds to join and make sure you use your real full name because I have door prize for you. Okay, all, are you ready? I will give you 1 minute only to answer and you may start the quiz now. The webinar. Thanks for joining and I'll give it back to Miss Vina. See you.
Thank you for the great game, Miss Arum, and thank you for the participants who have joined the game. Now, without further ado, we will start the second session with Dr. Aslam Khan. This session will be led by Miss Clementine as the moderator. Miss Clementine, time is yours.
Thank you, Miss Vina. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, the participants of this prestigious seminar. Welcome to our session entitled The New Normal in Education, Contextualized Best Practices and Pedagogical Solution in Challenging Times. I am Clementine and I would lead and be with you for this whole session. The presentation will be 45 minutes and followed by 15 minutes for question and answer. A gentle reminder, for the question and answer session, please write your question in the Google form link shared by the committee in the chat box. Once again, for those who want to ask, please write your questions in the Google form link shared by the committee in the chat box. And before the presentation begins, allow me to introduce our honored speaker, Dr. Aslam Khan bin Samahs Khan. He earned his academic and professional qualification in Malaysia and the United Kingdom. He has also been awarded the Doctor of Excellence in English Language Education and 21st Century Education. He has served as an executive committee and vice president of MELTA, or Malaysian English Language Teaching Association, for 23 years. Currently, he is a senior lecturer and executive vice chairman of ERICAN Education Group, Malaysia, China, and UK. A council member of NAPE Malaysia, National Association of Private Education Institutions, and also the vice president of Malaysia Association for Education. Without further ado, please welcome our second speaker, Dr. Aslam Khan For Mr. Khan, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good morning.
Can you hear me all?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Quite clear.
Pak Hendra, I think we have been talking about going to Surabaya, for your university presentation for quite some time, and today we make it happen, yeah?
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Pak Hendra, for inviting me. Also, Miss Ayuna, who was liaising with me. Thank you so much. Universitas Widya Mandala. Yeah, did I get it right?
Yeah, right.
Surabaya Catholic University. And I think I was there before in 2012 for Asia TEFL, I think.
Oh, yes. Teflin. Yeah.
Sorry, Teflin.
Teflin,
Sorry.
yeah.
Teflin 2012. Yeah, I was there. And Surabaya is not something, a place that is new to me because I've been traveling to Surabaya for the past 12 years. So not only Surabaya, I think, as I say that Indonesia is like my second home because I've been traveling in Indonesia for past 12 years to Surabaya, of course, past 12 years, Malang, Bali, Sidoarjo, Jogja, wherever. So I think I've traveled a lot in Indonesia for conferences, and I'm really very honored to be invited for this webinar. Yes, thank you so much, Pak Hendra, and the university, and
So it seems that Indonesia is also your second home.
yeah, and the organizing committee. You all have been very wonderful people. Been so, Indonesians are totally very hospitable, very nice people. So that's why I keep on going to Indonesia without saying no. So once again, thank you very much for the invitation. Yeah. All right. So I will be sharing. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I think I have to go to make the screen bigger. Yeah.
Bigger, yeah, right. Make it.
Can you see now?
Not yet. Still small.
Not yet, nah? Okay. Is it okay now?
Yeah, that's okay.
All right. Yeah. I'm going to make it. Okay. Can you see the screen now? Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Who is the moderator for me so that I can ask whether I'm on the right track, whether the time is there, whether screen?
Clementine.
Yes, it's me. It's me.
Miss
Aslam.
Clement.
Clementine. Yes, Clementine.
Clementine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Miss Clement, I'll be asking, can you hear me? Can you see whatever you just respond? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, we have participants from all over the world. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. From Indonesia and then from other countries also.
Yeah. Good. Because I did share the flyer with quite a number of people in other parts of the world. Okay. Now, yeah, because what I was requested to share is basically on the pedagogical aspect, yeah, more on the teaching and learning, yeah, during this pandemic situation. So we are looking at the new normal in education and contextualize best practices and pedagogical solution in challenging time. I know it's challenging time. It's really challenging even in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. We are now in lockdown, but not 100%. Yeah, I think I would say maybe 80% to 90% we are under lockdown till February 18. So I think, but education cannot stop. That's one thing that we must understand as education is. in whatever situation, whether it's new normal, the old normal, or whatever normal we are talking about, education is something that we cannot stop, because it is not only a nation's a nation's obligation, but for us as educationists. Now I use the word educationist, yeah, because educationists give you a wider platform of your endeavor in teaching and learning. So as educationists, we have to understand we have a social obligation to fulfill. We have that. So that's why we are all here today, even though it's a Saturday. And, Widya Mandala University has taken the initiative to share with people all around the world that, hey, education cannot stop. Many things can stop during this situation. Education cannot stop. So I think that is something that we should really appreciate Vidya Mandala for organizing this webinar. So let's see what is in store. Now, basically, this is what is in store today for my sharing session. I would say sharing, because some of these things maybe all of you have seen, have heard, or have read. Yeah. So we look at revisiting and internalizing some underlying educational theories and concepts, understanding the new normal, and then the challenges. I think we are all facing challenges, not only in Indonesia, we are facing challenges anywhere in the world. I have friends, educationists from other parts of the world. They say, we are in the same situation. Then we need to understand the shift, the education landscape for practitioners, all right, have really changed, and therefore there must be a shift. And then I'll share some of my suggested practical and contextualized solutions in the learning and the teaching. Yeah, is that fine, Miss Clement?
Yes, Pak. It's okay. Yeah, it's that.
Good. I think you addressed me the right way, Bapak, because every time I go to Indonesia, they call me Pak Aslam. Okay, that's fine. I am Pak Aslam. Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay. Now, that's one thing that all of us must understand. In the world of education, one thing doesn't change. One thing doesn't change. What is it? Whether we are teaching or whether we are educating. This is something that's not changed. So we have to internalize this. If you teach, this is you. If you educate, this is you. So I would expect most of us who are here today, all the learned educationists who are here today, I think we need to put ourselves to be the educator, not a teacher. So we are not just teaching, we are educating. Then we will have a different perspective of what learning and teaching is all about. All right? So an educator gives intellectual, moral, and social instruction. So we need to remember this. All right? We need to remember this. An educator is an experienced and trusted advisor. An educator advises and shows the way. So this is something that we need to understand. All right. And when we talk about, when we are educating, we are inspiring, we are guiding, we are exemplifying, we are causing someone to apply and express knowledge, we are empowering, we are enlightening, we are illuminating. So remember, esteemed educators who are with me today, we educate. All right? We educate. Okay? The one that when we educate, then this will be our guiding principle as an educationist. Education needs to shift from teaching us facts to teaching us how to live extraordinary lives. Now, if we are educators, then we are shifting from teaching facts for teaching how to live extraordinary lives. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have to reflect and then we internalize these lines because we are all educationists. Okay, let's revisit or internalize the theories and concepts. All right? Now, these are the theories and concepts that we really need to understand. Industry 1.0 to Industry 4.0. We are now in the Industry 4.0. Then we talk about Education 4.0. And we talk about the 6 C's of education for 21st century. Now, if you look at the 6 C's, I have come up with another C. So I would like to share 6 C's plus 1. Plus 1 here is the contextualization. Okay, the theory, all right, the theory of 21st century education, we need to understand that contextualization is very crucial. Now, we can teach the same topic, whether you are in Surabaya, Jogja, Medan, Balikpapan, Jakarta. Topic, syllabus, curriculum can be the same, but your pedagogical concepts, theories, approaches, methodologies might differ according to the context of your learners. All right? Context of your learners, resources, socio-economic status of your learners, and also the institution you are in. So that's why I came up with 6 C's plus 1. Okay? Now, when we talk about Education 4.0, there are 9 elements or 9 trends, but because we are in the new normal, we need to focus on the one I've highlighted in pink. Diverse time and place, personalized learning, exams will change completely, mentoring will become more important. So please take heed of these 4 trends, which are currently very crucial in the new normal. All right? Ms. Clement, you can hear me loud and clear?
Yes, sir. Crystal clear here.
Thank you. Now, let's, as I said, we always revisit and then we reflect, and then we internalize. So remember these three keywords, yeah? As a practitioner, educationist, we always revisit. In education, nothing is final. Remember this line. In education, nothing is final. Nothing is written in stone. In education, everything is written in sand because you can wipe the sand and rewrite. But if you put it in stone, you cannot wipe it and rewrite. So remember, in education, as educationists, we always revisit. Okay, revisit means reviewing, and then we reflect, we come up with new ideas, and then we internalize it, and then we move on. And this is something that is not constant. It is always changing. Yeah? Conventions. All of you agree? This is what we do, right? But can we do it now? Okay, this is a convention. What was before? So that's why we are revisiting. We have all these things, right? Wow, the teacher there, discuss, synthesize. Okay, let's do it. Okay, come on. All these things are conventions in the old normal, so-called, old normal. Interesting, right? Everybody, no social distancing, close contact, fun, happy, very face-to-face, It's interesting, but now we are in the new normal. What is a new normal actually? A previously unfamiliar or atypical situation that has become standard, usual, or expected. So it's expected that we, all educationists, all practitioners, have to subscribe to the new normal. This is what we are here today for, yeah? This is the new normal. See, it's a very lonely affair. I think everybody will agree. I think, students will say, oh, they will ask their mother, mommy, daddy, it's so boring. I'm alone here. Every day I'm facing the laptop and I'm alone. I want to go back to school. I want to see my friends. Not only in primary school and secondary school, even in the universities. I think all of you agree. Miss Clement, you agree?
Yes, of course, sir. That's the
Yeah,
truth
you,
now.
you miss all your friends.
Yeah, of course, and also my lecturers.
And also your lecturers, and also
Yes.
Pak Hendra.
Yes.
You're all missing, the whole teaching and learning community.
Yep.
All right. So this is the new normal, and then everything is. This is the new normal. Where what is happening now? What is happening now? We are in the new normal. I'm in Kuala Lumpur, and you are in Surabaya. But we are having this networking. We are connected. So this is basically how teaching and learning is in the new normal. However, not everything is smooth sailing. Sedih sekali. Very sad, isn't it? The new normal has brought along new challenges. Look at the key challenges. Look at the 9 key challenges. I think all of us are facing this. Adaptability struggle. That's number 1. Compatibility, encouraging collaboration, loneliness, Technical issues, right? Time management and staying connected. Socio-economic factor and affordability. Not every child Number 4 is a serious factor to be considered. Not every child can afford a laptop or tablet or an iPhone. So you must understand the socioeconomic factor. Computer literacy. Okay? Digital competence, lacking of technical skill. Self-motivation. This is number 6. Then assessment, how? Then teachers or academics or, lecturers, workloads, the competence, training, confidence, because there will be instances where there will be lots of students dropping out. So these are key challenges. All right. So therefore, there is a shift now. So a shift in the education landscape. What is the shift? Technology is the biggest word. The key word now in the new normal is technology. However, please don't misinterpret. Don't say that, hey, saya tidak ada teknologi, maka tidak boleh belajar, tidak boleh mengajar. No. Technology is a tool. It's a means to the end, not the end. It's a means. Please remember that. Technology is a tool. So we use technology as a tool in these aspects. Provoke to try and master skills, encourage to co-create, inspire to explore beyond the tangible, raise interest in topics, themes, and contexts, motivate to engage in the real world. Remember, technology is a tool, not the ultimate. Okay, so technology is our servant, not our master. Don't make technology the master. Make technology our servant, so that these 5 aspects can be fulfilled. We are talking about shift. We are on a journey of shift, mindset shift, pedagogical shift. Look at this. Shift learning, the 7 most powerful idea shifts in learning today. From physical to digital. No more face-to-face, now we are digital. From standards, last time we have a standards. Everyone has to do this. No more. It's no more one head fits all. We have to discard that line. Now we are going to habits, habit formation. Okay, habit formation among the practitioner and the learners. So that's why I emphasize on the word contextualization. From compliance to play. You see, I mean, I heard just now in the earlier presentation that there was a question, oh, how to motivate our learners? I would say, educationists, ladies and gentlemen, have fun. Motivate yourself, have fun in you, and then transfer this to your learners. Then together, we have fun in learning and we motivate each other. So create that situation, all right? From schools to communities. Now, community is so crucial now. the parents, the associations. It's no more just the school or the universities. The community is part of the learning, teaching group. Not only the universities and the schools, but the community. I know I've been presenting all over Indonesia during the new normal since last year. They always say that, Bapak, bagaimana ya, anak-anak sekolah tidak ada komputer, tidak ada tablet, tidak ada iPhone. Bagaimananya semuanya tidak mampu. I say community comes in. How? If there is a community hall that can put in 20 students, we just need one piece of resource in technology for that 20 students. We don't need 20 laptops, 20 tablets or whatever. So the community needs to work with the institutions, all right, with the school, identify and then come up with a solution so that anak-anak di Indonesia semuanya mendapat didikan. Tidak kira di mana mereka berada. Wherever they are, they should get education. Not based on socio-economic status, because education is for every child in Indonesia. And those who are from other countries in the world, always remember, every child deserves education. And I think every child has a right for education. Yeah? So community. And then from privacy to transparent, everything has to be transparent now. All right? Everything has to be transparent. And it's no more from isolation to connectivism. No more isolation. Okay, you don't teach alone. Connectivism. From reaction to interaction. So remember, this is the shift that we all need. Okay? Can I go on?
Yes, Pak.
Okay. The new normal. So examination, assessment, evaluation. The new normal is this. We go into digital. Students take examination in the digital manner. All right? In a digital manner. You don't have to have face-to-face, digital manner, and then look at this. Learners take a writing or speaking test, computer or mobile device. Then all these are distributed to all certified professors around the world. And then learners and admins receive detailed report within 24 hours. Within 24 hours, yeah, you receive everything. So we have revisited the theories. We have understood what is the new normal, the challenges, and then we are talking about the shift in general. Now we go into the pedagogical shift. That means the teaching and the learning. It is the classroom practice, yeah? So what is the key word here? When we talk about classroom practice, we are looking at the pedagogical implication is this: contextualize and personalize your pedagogical shift. Personalize here means you make it, because in the new normal, it is you and your learners. All right? You and your learners. Contextualize it, personalize it according to the needs of your learners. Maybe you want to use flipped classroom. The traditional classroom is of that nature. Flipped classroom is about this. These are approaches, okay? You shift. What is flipped and what is traditional? I think all of us understand. But this is one approach that we can look at. Or maybe you want to look at blended learning. So these are approaches, ladies and gentlemen. But whatever approach or any kind of approach that we use, we must remember the 5E instructional model developed by Roger Bybee. What is it? In the classroom, you need to engage, explore, explain, elaborate, evaluate, and go back and engage again. So can you see the virtuous, I call it a virtuous cycle in learning and teaching? Okay? So this is what happens in the classroom. Now, I came up with a suggested online methodology. I'm using my name. You can see the acronym, yeah, or mnemonic. Aslam there. So always remember, when you enter a classroom to educate, whether you are in the school, primary, secondary, whether you are in the university or any institution in a college, remember Aslam. What is Aslam? So this is a suggested online teaching methodology. You activate, A for activate, S for share, L for learn, A for apply, and M for move. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what Aslam is all about. You activate. Now, we can't have face-to-face learning and teaching. Therefore, we activate. Activate is a replacement for set induction in face-to-face. And then we share. In face-to-face, we call it presentation and practice. And then in face-to-face, we call it development and production. And I personally put it learned. And then no more homework practice. Okay? So homework practice in face-to-face is now replaced with apply. And then in face-to-face, we have conclusion, and what's next? I've replaced it with move. Now, if you can internalize this suggested online teaching methodology, which is online, yeah? But always remember, teachers, I call you educators, your talking time must be reduced at all time, because students' talking time needs to be prioritized. Okay, prioritized all the time. Student, they are very important so that maximum learning can take place. So remember, yeah, remember this suggested online teaching methodology, remember Aslam, and remember that use this in the best possible way for maximum learning to take place. So let's look at the contextualized practices. Now we go to the details. This is a practical approach. If I'm teaching a poem in a reading class or, in a literature class, I can do that. I can use this. I come up with an approach. Okay, I come up with this approach. I clearly state my theme, topic, and content. And then I put in the instruction, procedure, activities. You can look at it. Underlying principles and beliefs, I have to put it. That's why I put here individualized, personalized, and differentiated instructions. And then I need to understand that all the elements of learning and teaching must be at all time adhered to. The outcome and remarks, thinking skills, application, reasoning. Now, when we have an approach which is very clearly stated like this, you see, instruction procedures. I'm teaching this poem. This poem, He Has Such Quiet Eyes, is by the Indonesian, a very renowned poet, okay, from Jakarta, Bipsi Sunharjo. Her poem is very interesting. He has such quiet eyes. And we even use this in the Malaysian schools, okay? And you can use these activities, or you come up with these meaningful activities, and students can be totally engaged. Look at the activities here. It is very new normal based, yeah? Very technology based. All right. Now, to be honest, let me tell you that I'm using, this song, when I'm teaching. I don't know whether you can see. Can you see this? When your legs don't work like they used to before. Can you see this? Can you see the video clip?
Yes, yeah, sir. We can see it.
You
Yeah.
can hear?
Yes.
And also the audio, yeah. Everything is clear.
You see? I'm the new normal teacher. I'm bringing Ed Sheeran to my class because students will enjoy this. Will your eyes still smile from your cheek? Nice? Darling, is it nice to have the wordings there to make it fun? To use technology to the maximum level for our students, which is related to the poem we are teaching? You know this song, right?
I know this song.
Okay.
For me.
You know this song, you see?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, let's say, sometimes I get a lot of questions and they say, sir, but my students are very weak. I'm teaching in Lombok. My students are very weak. They might not, understand English that much. Don't worry. We have to be creative. What about this? Look at this. I'm blending Indonesia. You see, can you see the video clip?
Yes, Pak.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm blending Bahasa Indonesia with English. This is a famous singer, one of my favorite singers, yeah, Judika. Aku hanyalah manusia biasa, bisa merasakan sakit dan bahagia. Izinkan ku bicara agar kau juga dapat mengerti. Okay, this video clip, the original one has the English, the Bahasa Malaysia, Bahasa Indonesia, writing coming out, the lyrics, and below it is the translation, the English, translation is below. So students can relate the Bahasa Indonesia with the English language. So you see, this is again the creativity of the teacher, yeah, maximizing the use of technology. All right, let's go on. So this is just sharing with you a practical approach. Now let's go into the details. Let's look at the details. When we are talking about reading, listening, speaking, writing, vocabulary, grammar, and so on. Now look at this. Okay, look at this. These activities, the post-reading activities. Now these post-reading activities can be integrated with the other skills, the listening, speaking, and reading skills. Now look at these activities. It's post-reading, but it can be used for while reading. It can be used for pre-reading, can use for listening and speaking. It can be used for vocabulary. It can use for grammar. It can use for writing. But the focus here is post-reading. Now look at these activities. All right? These are solutions. These are solutions in this new normal. And then when we talk about meaningful grammar drills, now we have to say meaningful, not mechanical. Now, I repeat, yeah, there shouldn't be mechanical grammar drills. There should be meaningful grammar drills. And look at these meaningful ones, yeah? Using pictures or photos, using sounds and songs, using chants and charts or other activities. What are these? Now I'm using photos or pictures. All right? And I'm using for listening, speaking, I can use this. Now look at this song, yeah? I want you all to look at this song. Now you see that when you're doing mechanical, not mechanical, we are doing meaningful drills. You see the one that I've underlined, the lines underlined are the past tense. All right? Lines which are not underlined are present tense. So you can have the meaningful drills. So one group will sing yesterday, the past tense group. And then we have the present tense group, the past tense group. You see, there is interaction. So these drills are meaningful, practicing the past tense and the present tense. All right? So let's say now the past tense will sing. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. And then the next group, present tense, now it looks as though they are here to stay. Or I believe in yesterday, suddenly I'm not half the man. Past tense, I used to be. So these are meaningful drills. Okay, I think everybody knows the song. This is a song, right? So you use this and then look at, transfer the lines into past tense, present tense, 2 groups, 3 groups, or whatever that you have. Okay? Now you can do this kind of drills. Okay, meaningful drills. If I lose my job, I'll sell the house. If I sell the house, I'll live with my mother. If I live with my mother, I'll whatever. So this is the conditional grammar. We're talking about grammar, yeah? Conditional tense, yeah? Okay, I'm going to go a bit faster. I have about 10 minutes more. And then we can use stories. We can use stories. Okay, the technique and strategies in language development using stories. Storytelling activities can go into all these. Okay, and then we cover the four skills and grammar and vocabulary. All right, look at this. A Long Walk Home by Jason Bocaro. Using this short story, we can teach online. Okay, reading, writing, listening, speaking, grammar, vocabulary. Look at this. We're looking at grammar. We're looking at grammar. Verb, adverb, participle, noun, adjective. You're looking at grammar. Based on that story, yeah, and also vocabulary. All right, look at vocabulary. All these activities are very meaningful based on a short story. You see, looking at vocabulary. Okay, and then stories can be used for writing a dialogue, paraphrasing, writing a book report. All this can be done. Okay, writing activities. All right, and then speaking and listening. You see, these are all the activities. The procedures are here. You can, quickly look at it and then, read it and see how it can go on. So all these activities can be done online. So there is no stopping, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no stopping. You have to be creative, okay? But the point that you need to note, this is my quote. Contextualize and justify your selection, okay, of all the mentioned tasks or activities based on your learners' language competence, maturity, learning styles, acceptance, socioeconomic status, syllabus curriculum requirements, availability of resources, and other factors which, to your knowledge, will affect learning. Being the practitioner, you know best of the content and the pedagogical needs of your learners. So this is my quote. You can quote me anytime. Okay? So I have another 2-3 minutes, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, Pak.
Okay. So as a conclusion, we must understand in the new normal, the so-called new normal, it's not just about online learning. It's not about technology being the master. It must be the server. It's not about standardized teaching and learning. We have to understand in the new normal, according to Francis Jim Toscano, we don't put Bloom as number one, it says here. We put Maslow's needs theory before Bloom taxonomy, because Bloom's taxonomy is very, very cognitive. Maslow's taxonomy, or you call it, Maslow's needs theory, is basically very effective. So remember that. And then equitable access matters more than ever. Everything has to be, there must be equitable access. Multiple pathways of learning delivery. Multiple, not one head fits all. So of course we need, lots of funding, support for teachers. Teachers need professional development. Teachers need support. Teachers need everything so that they are totally motivated in this new normal. Okay? And then our pedagogy must be very sound. Okay? Use whatever tools that we have. Use whatever tools, whatever resources. And then when you're talking about assessment and grades, we need to review. And there must be school, community, and external partnerships with school, colleges, or universities. There must be this. And then there must be lots of this privacy, safety, security, and digital well-being. Remember, flexibility, adaptability, and empathy are essential skills in navigating these uncertain times, So all of us need to reimagine our new normal in education. So this is what Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Yeah, we need to really emphasize on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Bloom's taxonomy is very cognitive based. So in this new normal, there are also opportunities granted to all of us. Yes, yes. We can do research innovations, technological innovations, socio-economic interventions. So these are avenues given to us during this new normal, yeah? So solutions. New kinds of problems require new methods of solutions and require new ways of thinking. Why? For quality and effective learning and teaching. So remember this, yeah? So the key word in the new normal is contextualization. Just contextualize your learning and teaching according to the needs of your learners based on the resources available. One head doesn't fit all. So these are the 10 questions. Actually, are we practicing the new normal during this pandemic? This is a big question. These are the 10 pertinent questions that all of you must reflect, yeah? Actually, we have practiced the new normal before the pandemic. Remember earlier on, I talked about IR 4.0, 21st century education with 6Cs plus 1, and also education 4.0. Those concepts and theories are before the pandemic. So I think we may have, or I would say we have subscribed to and advocated the new normal before the pandemic. Only that in the new normal, it has become more. Yeah, it's more transparent now. It's more emphasized now. Okay, so what is our hope? That our new normal today exposes what was wrong with our old normal yesterday and sets us up for a better normal tomorrow. So with that, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for Mr. Khan for the enlightening and interesting talk. Everything is important here. So very well, ladies and gentlemen. Now we come to the question and answer session. I will read some questions that have been written in the chat box. Wait a minute. The first question comes from Yulhani Tabran from Jambi University. How to keep the quality of our education in the time of coronavirus outbreak? For Mr. Khan,
Yeah,
you can, yeah.
quality. A very short one. Segala-galanya di tangan Anda. Everything is in your hands. Like what I've mentioned, everything is in your hands. Therefore, the quality of education depends on the context of where you are, what you're doing, what you have, and maximize whatever that you have. Because quality is very subjective in the new normal. However, when we talk about quality, it has to adhere to the standards of learning and teaching. But however, wherever you are, in what context you are, the resources that you have, maximize it, get everyone involved, come up with the best for your learners. So to me, that is quality. We cannot quantify it very clearly. We can quantify the standards. So we understand the principles and practice of learning and teaching. We take that and then you quantify the quality that you have based on the resources, the learners, the curriculum, and whatever you have, and make full use of it the best way and maximize the use. Okay?
Okay, thank you for Mr. Khan. And the next question comes from Michelle. I'd like to thank Mr. Aslam for such a mind-changing presentation. And I'd like to ask some questions since I'm currently teaching toddlers, which is so difficult during this new normal situation. So this is about teaching young learners, Mr. Khan. And how to teach reading to toddlers when self-directed learning cannot be applied since they need direct guidance. So that's the question.
Okay, like we see about getting the family, the community, everyone involved. Because in the new normal, you cannot do anything alone. All right? So you have to think about how we can include even parents or the community or friends, group learning, where they check on each other. So you come up with the do's and don'ts. Set the house rules. Come up with tasks, group, pair work, and things like that. Okay? You come up with meaningful tasks that involve more than one person so that the other person can have a check on this person, on this student. The parents need to know, the community or people around this young learner needs to be a member of the teaching and learning team. Pair work in threes, in trios, okay, or in groups. You have to think how these young learners will complete the task or get attracted to. Okay?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Khan.
Come up
For the
with more fun-based activities,
Oh,
yeah? For fun-based activities. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And the next question comes from Aditya Yostara, SMP 17 Agustus from Surabaya. Dr. Aslam mentioned that personalized learning is something inevitable for new normal learning era. As for my learning experience, especially during online learning on pandemic time, it is challenging to grow individual responsibility and self-motivation to learn. Do you have best suggestion or reference on how to develop students' will to learn as independent learners?
What was the last line? Student?
Do you have a best suggestion to develop students' willingness to learn as independent learners so that they can learn independently even in this online era?
Now, just now we mentioned about, the earlier question was how to motivate these young learners. This applies to all levels. Motivation must be at the highest. they must see that whatever they are doing is meaningful. Because when we were doing face-to-face, okay, in a big class, okay, anak-anak sekalian, hari ini kita buat ini, semuanya buat ya. So you take for granted that they akan buat because they are in a class of 30 or 40. But now, no. You cannot do things that may not interest them. Do something that's different. Do something that they want to be involved in. Do something that they say that I must do it. I want to enjoy doing it because technology is the tool. Like just now, I was teaching a poem, but I use Ed Sheeran, I use Unika. I tell you, the students in SMR or SMP, they will be very happy. Wow, enak sekali ya. Guru saya bawa Judika ke kelas, bawa Ed Sheeran. Enak sekali. Esok saya mau tunggu lagi. Is my bahasa Indonesia okay? All right. So you see, you must create interest. You must come up with a new innovation. You must start thinking now. It's like the new normal is for you to reflect. I told you about innovation. You see, in the new normal, people say, oh, susah sekali lah. Tidak ada ini, tidak. Kalau susah sekali, semuanya susah. Kita harus berfikir. God gave us the brain to think. So in the new normal, let's start thinking. Let's start thinking. And yes, I know it's difficult. But, ladies and gentlemen, no man is an island. As educationists, you must not work alone. Group of you educationists, your teachers, academics, or whatever, sit together, discuss, come up with new ideas, and share the ideas. Share. One person cannot do everything. Different people can come up with different ideas, and then you can share those ideas and use in the right context of your learners. Yeah?
Okay, the last question. So this will be the last question, yeah, Mr. Khan. And this question comes from Agus, SMK Kristen Petra. Education cannot stop. Pandemic do make challenges, and that's not easy. But many of students are unlucky in terms of financial or economic status.
Yes.
According to Mr. Aslam, what strategies should be used if students have not adequate resources? For example, the students do not have laptop or PC, meanwhile all the communication is done online, right? And then even though we need it as teaching tool during the pandemic, so what should we do? Like, we need the tool, but the students do not have it.
Yeah. To be honest, in Malaysia, we have this issue, or everywhere. Lack of resources, lack of technology among the learners. Yes, understandable. So this is where what we can do is that the community has to come in. And sometimes we do kind of recorded lessons. You understand? Recorded. Or sometimes what we can do is that's why we are looking at television now. Television which can cater to everyone's needs. I think in Malaysia, we have television stations which are for everyone. You don't have to pay. Do you have that in Indonesia? Yes. So an initiative maybe can be put forward. Pendidikan television. Teaching and learning happening on TV so that every child can have access to that. It is just to assist them, okay? It's just to assist them. Yeah, it might not be a lot, but I think it keeps them recorded. And then in a kampung or in a village, put all them together in a community, get the kampung. If, I mean, they are poor people, You know, I mean, we are looking at socio-economic status. We cannot afford this, and then people can afford make it in a community center. Schools, okay, practice the social distancing, put the chairs and tables far apart so that students can come in, okay, can come in, one big screen, one laptop, one LCD, you can have the hall there, 40 students, but we must practice social distancing lah. So you must start to recreate, start to innovate, and start to find solutions. Don't say that, you know, oh, kita tidak ada teknologi, kita tidak ada smartphone, kita tidak ada laptop, kita berhenti. No. Education doesn't stop. Start thinking. Community comes in. Ketua kampung comes in. Universities can come in to assist. Yeah, Pak Hendra, yeah, university can assist.
Yeah, right.
Maybe on Saturday and Sunday, all the mahasiswa pergi ke kawasan yang kurang bernasib baik. Kita adakan group learning and teaching, but social distancing ya, pakai masker ya, cuci tangan ya, tapi dalam kumpulan. Jadi kita identify. So there is a way. God always says that if there is a will, there's a way. Okay?
Yes, excellent. It's very interesting, Mr. Khan. So for all participants, then finally we come to the end of our presentation. And from our discussion, I want to highlight some important and interesting parts. The first, education cannot stop, as what Mr. Khan said. It means in this pandemic situation, in our new normal situations, so all teachers, all participants of this webinar, let's start thinking. It's our time to reflect, to think about the solution for all challenges we have. So let's teach our students, let's educate them, and let's create enjoyable learning environment. And do not forget the last one, Aslam. Active, share, learn, apply, and move. Once again, I would like to say thank you for the presenter, Mr. Khan, and thank you for his informative presentation. Hopefully, the presentation will be beneficial for us and we can take all things learned into actions. Let's give a big round of applause to Mr. Khan. Thank you so much, Mr. Khan, and for the participants, thank you for your attention.
Yeah.
And thank you for your participation in question and answer session. For the time being, I will give the floor back to Ms. Wina. Yeah.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, of course, Dr.
Once
Khan.
again, I'd like to thank, Pak Hendra. Pak Hendra, thank you so much for inviting me. And Miss Ayu, I mean, I know only some of these names, Miss Ayu, and also Miss Clementine.
Yes.
Yeah, for the
yeah.
all the committee members and all the staff of Widya, Mandala, and all the participants from wherever you are. Thank you so much for being present and for organizing this. And it's a great pleasure. It's a great pleasure to share my 2 cents knowledge and what that I have with all of you. Let's pray, okay? Let's pray, let's dua, so that, this pandemic will slowly subside and ease, and all educationists will be full, full swing again without any other issues, and give our best to education wherever we are. And especially for Indonesia, since this is from Indonesia, saya ingin merakamkan ribuan terima kasih kepada semua yang hadir, semua di Widya Mandala, dan semua yang di Indonesia ini, sila berikan yang terbaik untuk anak-anak di Indonesia, supaya anak-anak Indonesia ini akan jadi bukan yang terbaik di Indonesia, tetapi menjadi terbaik di platform dunia. Jadi apa-apa yang dilakukan di Indonesia ialah untuk bangsa dan negara Indonesia. Jadi kita adalah orang yang menjaga anak-anak supaya satu hari mereka akan mengharumkan nama Indonesia di platform dunia. Itulah niat saya. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone. Thank you wherever you are. Thank you. Yeah, be blessed, stay safe, and remember, you are never alone. As
Yes.
educationists, we never walk alone. We are always together. Let's work together in whatever way and make education the best for all our learners. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay
Thank you.
healthy, Mr.
Thank
Khan.
you.
Miss Vina and Miss Eva.
Okay. Thank you for the wonderful insight, Miss Clementine. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we will move to the second quiz session. The quiz will be guided by Miss Yani. Miss Yani, time is yours.
Thank you, Miss Eva. Thank you. Before we close this webinar, we will give a prize also for who can answer the quiz. Would you please to open your browser? The link will be available on the chat box and please enter the game code. We will give you 30 seconds to answer. Yes, we can see your name. Wow. Okay, are you ready? Let's start the game. Okay, the time is up. The winner will be announced at the end of this webinar. Thank you for your participation. Ibu Eva.
Thank you, Miss Yani, for the great game. We'd like to give our deepest gratitude to all of the participants who have been joining us from the beginning until the very last session of this webinar.
We are almost at the end of our session. We'd like to invite Dr. Hendra Teja-Suksmana M.Hum as the head of Master's Program in TEVO to give a closing speech. Dr. Hendra Teja-Suksmana M.Hum, time is yours.
Thank you. In this big part of this webinar, on behalf of the Master's Study Program in ELT, the Graduate School of Widya Mandala Catholic University, we would extend our thanks and appreciation to Takim Andriono, Dr. Philosophy, our first speaker, and Dr. Aslam Khan bin Samahs Khan, our second speaker today, being with us in this webinar from morning up to this time. And to all of you, dearest participants, who have been staying also with us from morning to this afternoon, enthusiastically engaged in this forum. And we would like to inform you that in this coming months, April and May, we are also going to have other webinars. And hopefully that you all can also join us. Again, thank you, goodbye, and have a nice weekend.
Thank you, Dr. Hendra Teja Suksmana MHU, for the great speech. We do really hope that today's webinar will be beneficial for you in your teaching and learning processes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to announce the winner of the games. I'd like to invite Ms. Retno to announce them. And Ms. Retno, time is yours.
The winner of the game. For the first session game, the winners are Miss Anna Marie Guavis from Citahati Christian School, and then the second is Siska Devilina from Widya Mandala, and the third is Miss Merti Mita from SMP Kristen Petra 5 Surabaya. And then for the second session game, the winners are Tabita Dwingga, and then Diba from LP3I Karawang, and then the third is Afif Hoirul. Yeah, congratulations for you all, and we will contact you for the present. See you. Thank you for participating.
Thank you, Ms. Retno, and congratulations to all of the winners. Now, let's have a closing prayer to close this webinar. I'd like to invite Ms. Deliana to lead the prayer. Ms. Deliana, time is yours.
Thank you so much, Miss Eva. Ladies and gentlemen, we are almost at the end of our sessions. To close our webinar, let us thank God for all His blessings throughout the sessions. Let me lead the prayer in Christianity. Dear Lord, thank you for your blessing, your mercy, your spirit, and your love, so that we can accomplish this webinar until the end. We believe that insight, knowledge, and all things that we got today from the speakers can be implemented in our life and shared to others as well. Thank you and bless us, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Once again, thank you for all of the participants. Here we share the link of the questionnaire of this webinar. As what we have explained in the rules and regulations, all of the participants have to fill in the questionnaire to get the e-certificate. The questionnaire will be opened until 4 p.m. The certificate will be sent to your email at the latest 3 days after today's webinar. Thank you. See you in the next webinar, and God bless you.